You know Thomas Edison as one of history's most prolific inventors. That's the story we've all been told, but there's another story. For 90 years, Edison's most controversial invention remained cloaked in silence. You won't find it in any history book, and it was almost wiped from all records. In 1921, Thomas Edison developed a plan to reinvent the one force that drives everything: money. I'm Mike Ward, and this is a story you've never been told. In 1921, Thomas Edison tried to reinvent the dollar. Now, while the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve initially silenced Edison's radical plan, it could only stay hidden for so long. Over the years, an underground movement championed this monetary breakthrough, and recently its existence was brought to light. It sparked a rebellion that quickly spread to Main Street America, to every corner of the globe. Right now, this radical new form of money is being used by millions of people in over 100 countries. It's trading on exchanges around the world, from Toronto to Singapore to the United States. It was once valued at less than a penny on these exchanges. But in 2013, a single unit of Edison's breakthrough money was valued at more than 482 Australian dollars, 330 euros, 280 British pounds, and 447 US dollars. In fact, one single dollar invested in it when it was first launched was recently worth $44,700. Now that bears repeating. $1 transformed into $44,700 in 2013. This new currency is changing the lives of average people who are turning small sums of money into thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Edison's revenge on the dollar is beginning to rebalance the existing power structures, dictating who can become wealthy in America. It's why the U.S. Department of Justice calls it a renegade currency, why the European Central Bank fears it will negatively impact their reputation, why a senior economic advisor to President Reagan calls it a competitive threat to all currencies. So how was Edison's vision kept alive all these years?
You know, it's a very strange thing, Mike. You had to follow a trail of breadcrumbs. Edison dollars were highly championed by none other than Henry Ford. So a free market capitalist gets behind a free market dollar, and the trail starts. Edison to Ford. Then it takes a new turn, and it leads to Irving Fisher. Fisher was a famous economist who believed that the money supply should increase along a fixed set of rules, no Fed intervention. He was a major supporter of Edison dollars. Now then, it leads to Fisher's big protege. Almost everyone has heard of this guy, John Maynard Keynes. In 1944, at the Bretton Woods meetings, Keynes proposes his own commodity-backed currency. He called it Bancor. And here's the difference. This is extremely important. Edison wanted to overhaul the U.S. dollar. Keynes had a bigger idea. He wanted to overhaul all currencies. Now we have to follow those breadcrumbs again. Nobel Prize-winning economist Milton Friedman enters the scene.
You interviewed Milton Friedman years back. He discussed the role you found he played in this evolution of Edison's new money.
That's correct, Mike. Dr. Friedman and I were talking at his condo in San Francisco. His wife was with him. You know, they're great people. So we're having this incredible conversation. At one point, he turns to me and he says, point blank, Michael, we don't need the Fed. Just replace it with a computer. He wanted his computer to print those dollars on a set schedule, month after month, week after week, year after year, like clockwork. The same number of dollars are printed, no more, no less. Edison dollars were low-tech. Friedman fixed that.
From Edison to Ford to Fisher to Keynes to Friedman, they kept upgrading the original vision. But in 2009, we hit a point where the economic conditions were just right for a 21st century version of Edison dollars to appear.
Mike, what emerged was a perfect version of Edison dollars. Backed by multiple commodities, free market driven and inflation proof, the money supply is controlled. Same amount printed on a set schedule. It cannot be manipulated, Mike, by any central banker or any government because it eliminates not only the Fed's centralized power, but that of all central banks. The only way to make all of this possible was for Edison's dollars to be reborn as high tech, a digital currency, one created to act just like virtual gold, but also backed by an even more powerful commodity. And that, Mike, is energy. Every day, so much energy is allocated into maintaining this virtual currency It could power 31,000 American homes. And its network isn't 12 decentralized warehouses across America. These modern Edison dollars are stored in a decentralized network of millions upon millions of computers located all over the world. In fact, if you took the top 500 supercomputers on this planet, put them all together, combine them in one giant network, this virtual currencies network would be 8 times stronger than that. And the movement is spreading at light speed. We just saw a 1,500% increase, 1,500% increase, I'm telling you, in trading activity in US dollars, in euros, you name it. And that's only in 3 months, Mike. These modern Edison dollars have now surpassed the total value of 20 national currencies. When have you ever heard of something that big growing that fast? Mike, these are 21st century Edison dollars. I'm talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the realization of Thomas Edison's dream come true.
Now, Michael, a lot of folks have heard of Bitcoin, and it's unleashed a firestorm in the press. Now, I want to read some of these quotes for you now. Forbes, Bitcoin, the currency of a $10 trillion global market. Time magazine, this concept is perfect money. Fox Business, Bitcoin may become the world's payment method of choice. The Washington Post quoted experts calling Bitcoin the Holy Grail. Astonishingly secure, anonymous, invisible to the taxman, it could soon rival the dollar. And it's not just the press supporting Bitcoin. Ron Paul said dollar alternatives like Bitcoin are fantastic. They offer freedom of choice. They're commodities that offer better value than what the Fed is printing. The VP of PayPal, Bitcoin, the perfect currency by design. Bill Gates, it's a techno tour de force. Now, this one is especially intriguing, and get this. The CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, he had the secret meeting in the UK. He was there with the vice president of the Council on Foreign Relations and a former advisor to the Secretary of State. They were talking about how Bitcoin helps overcome problems people have with central banks. Bitcoin operates like gold mining, and that Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot of money.
Cell phones are also in play. iPhone and Android apps have already been built to integrate into the Bitcoin network. There are 6 billion cell phones in the world, and it's estimated mobile phone transactions will soon surpass $617 billion a year. Now imagine you open up your box when you get your brand new cell phone and Bitcoin is already built inside.
The possibilities are endless. And since it's a pure free market currency that's still in its infancy, investing in Bitcoin has been nothing but a thrill ride. One single dollar invested in Bitcoin in 2009 became worth $44,700 in 2013. But it wasn't a straight line up. In June of 2011, Bitcoin began to crash in value. Everyone thought the end was near, but then it surged. And you hear these numbers, and it's almost unimaginable. 22,275%. So that means $1,000 invested in Bitcoin after this plunge transformed into over $223,752. Now, if you just got started in Bitcoin in 2012, that same $1,000 turned into over $115,394. And if you waited until 2013, once again, that same $1,000 could have become over $33,963. People are becoming rich from this volatility. And Michael, later, I want to talk about those 3 very different, very unique ways to capitalize on this Bitcoin revolution. But before we get to all of that, for many folks, and I think this is a very big question on their minds, explain how this money works.
Bitcoin has 3 major technologies in play that give it all of these incredible benefits. The first is nothing new. It's the security technology that allows you to make a purchase with your credit card. This has been around since the 1970s, but those transactions have to go through the banks. Bitcoin eliminates this middleman. The second technology was developed by none other than the U.S. Naval Research Lab. Our Navy uses it in the Middle East for exchanging intelligence. Law enforcement uses it to help conceal their online investigations. And Bitcoin uses it to conduct nearly anonymous transactions online. Meaning, I don't know you, you don't know me. No identities, no addresses. We're just a set of numbers. Now, that third technology is called quantum cryptography. I'll admit it's a bit of a fancy name, but this is what keeps hackers and online criminals from stealing your financial information, from stealing your money.
Just to make sure we really understand this critical point, if one computer is compromised, it wouldn't matter to the network.
Exactly. There's no central bank, no central computer, no center to attack.
Michael, safety is obviously a big concern. I mean, nowadays, 1 out of every 167 credit card transactions is fraudulent. But the world's leading Bitcoin processor has reported exactly 0 cases of payment fraud.
Mike, that's just really another great benefit. While dollars or any paper currency can be counterfeited, you can't create a counterfeit Bitcoin. It just doesn't work. Yes, every person in this decentralized network is anonymous, but each Bitcoin creates a footprint, a digital footprint of exactly where it's been. So, if you were to steal my Bitcoin, you really couldn't do anything with it.
It'd be like somebody stealing the Mona Lisa and then going to your local art gallery or Christie's auction house and trying to sell it.
Yeah, steal a famous painting, just hang it on your wall. Steal some Bitcoin, good luck finding anybody willing to take it. Bitcoin is like having the greatest Swiss bank account on earth, only it's more private, as in, if I turn that $500 worth of Bitcoin into $100,000, no bank, nobody needs to know but me. And the beauty of all this is, you don't have to be a millionaire to get into Bitcoin. You can start off with very little money. Now, combine that privacy with a currency that, during these early volatile stages, it has some risk, but it's limited risk. The small amount you invest, sure, you could lose some of it, or it can make you wealthier than your wildest dreams.
So let's say I'm like most folks. I want to trade Bitcoin. How do I do that?
It's the same as if you wanted to trade your dollars for euros. Just go to a currency exchange. There are plenty of them online. 2 of Microsoft and Facebook's top execs just backed a new Bitcoin exchange. Others were funded by some of the creators or backers of Skype, Twitter, Groupon, Instagram. From there, what you do with your Bitcoin is up to you. If you want to buy cars or real estate or pay for your parking tickets or dinner, that's great. You can do all of these things. Bitcoin represents freedom.
Now, Michael, let's talk about where all of this is heading. Driven by a pure grassroots movement, Bitcoin has seen a 44,312-fold increase in value. This isn't hypothetical wealth being created either. Even though it's anonymous, people all around America are stepping forward to share how much Bitcoin has changed their financial futures. I've never seen this kind of wealth being created and finding its way into the hands of average folks.
We can't just look at this as an American phenomenon. This is truly global. A woman in Berlin named Heidi, she runs a tour guide business. She made 600,000 euros, so that's 774,000 US dollars in Bitcoin. Now she's accepting Bitcoin as payment for her tours. In another part of Berlin, the Kreuzberg district, there are 12 stores just in this area, Mike, taking Bitcoin. A bakery, a record store, a brewery, you name it. And in China, people are using Bitcoin to buy wine, to go to coffee shops, even to purchase medical equipment, and of course, to make money. 4 people got together and they made $280,000. One businessman even became $3.9 million richer from Bitcoin.
This is also amazing when you consider that Bitcoin wasn't even worth $1 until February of 2011. But now, Forbes has already written about the $1,000 Bitcoin. I've heard $2,000 Bitcoin. I even saw Business Insider reporting that Bitcoin could eventually capture between 1 and 10% of the entire global currency market. That would dictate every Bitcoin carry a value of between $100,000 and $1 million.